Before we continue main character May, just a quick heads up. On Saturday, June the 6th, 2026, I'm gonna be at a Retro Heaven convention in Diest, Belgium, as a special guest, alongside other YouTubers such as Pixel Dan, Ed Retro's Geek Out, and quite a few others. Yeah, me, a special guest, I can't really believe it either, but here we are. So if you're in Belgium, or in Western Europe, or are visiting, make sure you come check out Retro Heaven, Saturday, June the 6th, 2026, and come see some of your favorite YouTubers. And me too, I suppose. A link to the event is in the description below. Hope to see you there. Now on with the show.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome back to Main Character May,
where we take a look at Storm Shadow all month long. Last time, we took a look at the figures from the original line, and 1997, so today we'll be talking about a selection of toys from the more modern lines. Now, there were no toys in 1999, making it the first year since 1982 that saw no new G.I.Joe products on the toy shelves. Yeah, even 95 and 96 had Sergeant Savage and G.I.Joe Extreme. Not that that's something to be really proud of.
So, for the first new Storm Shadow, we have to go back. All the way back to the future, to the year 2000!
In the year 2000!
So meet Storm Shadow version 5. This figure was released in the year 2000 with no original body parts. It's a repaint of the Ninja Force figure in more traditional stormy colors, though the mask is still black. One crucial difference with the Ninja Force version is that they took out the real ninja action, so it's just a regular G.I. Joe figure now, though it still does not have a screw in the back.
So if you need to repair it, that's still gonna be a pain in the dick.
He was part of the Special Collector's Edition toy line and was exclusively available in a 2-pack with snake eyes. It's a pretty neat looking figure, though making his hands flesh colored looks a bit weird, since you can still see the glove molding on them. For accessories, he just has 2 swords, making his set as anemic and unimpressive as the Ninja Force one. I don't really get why they went with this mold, since the original was still available.
Maybe they wanted to shake things up a bit?
Still, the figure's not bad. The Special Collector's Edition line continued in 2001, but saw no new Storm Shadow figure.
The year after that, though?
Well, that saw the huge G.I. Joe vs. Cobra Relaunch toy line, and oh boy did Stormy get his due. 2002 saw no less than 4 different figures of the character, though I only have one and I don't really like any of them. Version 7 is the first new body mold for the character since the Ninja Force figure from 1992. So yeah, it took a full decade for him to get a brand new figure. And they tried reinventing him again, much like in 1992. This time he's white with red highlights, which I don't think really works. This mold was used 2 more times in 2002 alone, and I have version 8, the grey and dark red version.
And here's where I have to address the elephant in the room.
You see, for the Joe vs. Cobra relaunch, they dropped the O-ring construction, meaning they lost some of the leg articulation. Fans weren't too happy about that, and the figures looked weird, especially because they made the torsos bigger. If there's one thing positive I can say about these figures, is that the crossed sword sheath's backpack looks really cool.
Now, that's not to say there weren't O-ring figures in 2002.
There were plenty in fact, and even some of the new molds used them, but most were repaints using molds from the original line. One such was Storm Shadow version 9, only available in a box set sold at BJ's Wholesale Club and Fred Meyer, who once again used a Ninja Force mold and was red. In fact, all the Cobras in the set were red for some reason.
I don't know why. I mean, it's not like they were making him a red ninja or anything.
Moving on, in 2004, Storm Shadow would get a whopping 6 figures released. One of them was this one from the Valor vs. Venom toy line that still didn't have an O-ring, even though Hasbro had switched back to using that type of body construction in 2003.
I guess because a lot of fans yelled at them.
The reason this figure was different is because for him they brought back the Ninja Force gimmick, as his torso and right arm spring back when moving them. This mold was modified to remove the gimmick, making him a regular O-ring figure for 2 other releases in 2004, and a few more beyond. The last thing I'll say about him is that having his mask be covered by the Cobra symbol looks very goofy. The other notable 2004 figure was part of a Toys R Us exclusive Ninja Cobra strike team, and it used a 1998 mold, but repainted in green with camouflage. It's weird because I associate that mold with him being a good guy, and the same goes for green camouflage.
2005 saw the release of what is probably my favorite Storm Shadow figure.
Version 19, who uses version 1's body, but with 1991 Dusty's arms. He looks really great and isn't as fragile as the original. The only downside is that his only accessories were a sword and a sheathed backpack. He should have gotten more. He was only available as part of a comic book 3-pack. 2005 also saw, for the first time, the release of an unmasked Storm Shadow. This figure used the modified body of that 2004 one with a new head sculpt, and he came with a removable mask. What's special here is that this was a mail-in figure, something not totally unprecedented for Hasbro to do in the 2000s, but quite rare to see nevertheless. It's a perfectly fine figure, but only remarkable because he's unmasked and was a mail-in.
The unmaskings continued in 2006.
When another comic book 3-pack was released showing what Snake Eyes, Stalker and Storm Shadow looked like in their Vietnam days. Though this figure isn't technically a Storm Shadow, as he's called Tommy Arashikage, his real name. The head is new, but most of the body is that of Roadblock version 1. I don't have it, so I can't really comment, but it looks okay. 2007 saw the dawn of the new body construction figures, and Storm Shadow is fine for what he is. It's a good homage to the original, and if you like this new type of body, you'll like this figure. The only bad thing is that his backpack strap tends to cover up the Cobra logo. This Storm Shadow was part of the Cobra Battle Pack that contained 4 other figures. The mold was reused several times for more Storm Shadow figures, including this black version from 2008, which I didn't even remember was a Storm Shadow until looking things up on yojo.com for this video.
And the last figures I have for you are the ones from the movie.
There's the 2009 Rise of Cobra figure, which is a pretty damn good representation of what he looked like in the movie. I always thought the coat makes him look more businesslike. There was also an unmasked version, which you'd think would have just been the same figure with a new head. But no, if you look closely, most of the body parts are in fact different, though not all of them. Still, I'm amazed Hasbro went through the costs for this one. The last figure I own is from the Pursuit of Cobra line, where frankly, he looks like a homeless guy. Hobo with a katana, if you will.
Now, there were of course many more Storm Shadow figures than the ones I've shown you.
By the time Yo-Joe stopped updating, there were freaking 50 of them out there, but I by no means have them all. Quite frankly, I was getting a bit sick of there being so damn many Stormies. To say nothing of Snake Eyes.
I may be a completionist, but that only applies to the original line.
Overall, with the exception of the Shadow Ninja from Part 1, Storm Shadow never had a really bad figure made of him, though the 2002 non-O-ring versions weren't great. But still, I'd say he had an amazing run. Next time we'll get into the meat and potatoes of main character May,
as we'll be looking at the character, starting with the file card. Well, I'll see you next time everybody, and hey, why not like, share and subscribe if that's your thing.